Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, where we're getting you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Of course, nationally, the big story is that we have a new president and of course lots of updates coming in from Rajya Sabha. But first, the headlines. Ramnath Kovind is the 14th President of India, wins 66.65% of the total votes cast in the election. Former Lok Sabha Speaker Meera Kumar secures 34.35%. President-elect Ramnath Kovind thanks the nation for his electoral victory, calling it an emotional moment. Says upholding and protecting the Constitution will be his foremost responsibility. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the nation in congratulating the new president-elect. Thanks members of the Electoral College for the extensive support for Ramnath Kovind among MPs and across various states. And Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari accepts BSP Chief Mayawati's resignation from the upper house. Mayawati's term in Rajya Sabha was to have ended in April next year. Our top story this evening, Ramnath Kovind will be India's 14th president. Kovind received an overwhelming majority of votes from the MPs and MLAs. He defeated opposition's candidate Meera Kumar by getting 66.65% of the votes in the Electoral College. Kovind will be the second Dalit community member to hold the top constitutional position.
Ramnath Kovind will be the 14th President of India. The NDA-backed candidate won the presidential election, securing over 7 lakh votes. Kovind was in a contest with opposition candidate former Lok Sabha Speaker Meera Kumar. In the final vote count, Kovind secured more than 65.65% of the votes against Meera Kumar's 34.35%. Counting that started at 11 a.m. went through 8 rounds before the final result was declared.
Shri Ramnath Kovind has secured 7,02,044 votes, which is more than this quota. Therefore, in pursuance of the provisions contained in Section 11 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952, read with Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Rule 1974, I, Anup Mishra, the returning officer for the Presidential Election 2017, hereby declare that Shri Ramnath Kovind, resident of 42 HIG Maharishi Dayanand Vihar, Phase 2, Kalyanpur, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh, has been duly elected to the office of the President of India.
According to reports, several states saw cross-voting during the elections that resulted in Kovind getting over 2/3 votes. 522 MPs voted for Kovind while 225 voted for Meera Kumar.
जिस पद का गौरव डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी, डॉक्टर सर्वपल्ली राधाकृष्णन जी, APJ अब्दुल कलाम जी और प्रणब मुखर्जी जी जैसे महान विद्वानों ने बढ़ाया है, उस पद पर मेरा चयन मुझे बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी का एहसास करा रहा है। व्यक्तिगत रूप से मेरे लिए ये बहुत ही भावुक क्षण है।
जिस विचारधारा की लड़ाई लड़ने के लिए मैं इस चुनाव में शामिल हुई थी, वो आज 20 जुलाई 2017 को समाप्त नहीं हुई है। विचारधारा और मूल्यों की ये लड़ाई जारी रहेगी, क्योंकि हमारे देश के बहुत सारे लोग इसमें विश्वास करते हैं और इसमें अपना संबल पाते हैं।
Meanwhile, as flowers and extra security arrived at the former Bihar governor's home in Delhi, sweets were passed around at his hometown in Uttar Pradesh.
सामान्य परिवार में जन्मे गरीब परिवार से निकलकर आने के बाद देश के इतने महामहिम राष्ट्रपति पद पर आज रामनाथ कोविंद जी का जहां पर बैठना ये सामान्य भारतीय व्यक्ति को गौरवान्वित करने वाला है और इस बात की खुशी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कार्यकर्ता और पूरे देशवासी मना रहे हैं।
In the presidential election 2017 held on July 17th, of the total 4,880 valid voters, 4,109 MLAs and 771 MPs cast their vote. 71-year-old Kovind will be sworn in as the president on July 25th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And President-elect Ramnath Kovind thanked the nation for his electoral victory. Calling it an emotional moment, he said that his foremost duty will be to uphold and protect the Constitution of India.
आज के चुनाव परिणाम के लिए मैं सभी देशवासियों का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। देश के हर क्षेत्र के जनप्रतिनिधियों ने मुझ पर जो विश्वास जताया है उसके लिए मैं उनका आभारी हूं। हम चुनाव में विपक्ष की उम्मीदवार रही श्रीमती मीरा कुमार जी को भी धन्यवाद के साथ ही अपनी शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं। जिस पद का गौरव डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी, डॉक्टर सर्वपल्ली राधाकृष्णन जी, एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम जी और प्रणब मुखर्जी जी जैसे महान विद्वानों ने बढ़ाया है, उस पद पर मेरा चयन मुझे बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी का एहसास करा रहा है। व्यक्तिगत रूप से मेरे लिए ये बहुत ही भावुक क्षण है। आज दिल्ली में सुबह से बारिश हो रही है। बारिश का ये मौसम मुझे बचपन के उन दिनों की याद दिलाता है जब मैं अपने पैतृक गांव में रहा करता था। घर कच्चा था, मिट्टी की दीवारें थी। तेज बारिश के समय फूस की बनी छत पानी रोक नहीं पाती थी। हम सब भाई बहन कमरे की दीवार के किनारे खड़े होकर इंतजार करते थे कि बारिश कब समाप्त होगी। आज देश में ऐसे कितने ही रामनाथ कोविंद होंगे जो इस समय बारिश में भीग रहे होंगे, कहीं खेती कर रहे होंगे, कहीं मजदूरी कर रहे होंगे, शाम को भोजन मिल जाए इसके लिए पसीना बहा रहे होंगे। आज मुझे उनसे कहना है कि परौख गांव का रामनाथ कोविंद राष्ट्रपति भवन में उन्हीं का प्रतिनिधि बनकर जा रहा है। मुझे ये जिम्मेदारी दिया जाना देश के ऐसे हर व्यक्ति के लिए एक संदेश भी है जो ईमानदारी और प्रामाणिकता के साथ अपने कर्तव्यों का निर्वहन करता है। इस पद पर चुना जाना न कभी मैंने सोचा था और न कभी मेरा लक्ष्य था, लेकिन अपने समाज के लिए, अपने देश के लिए अथक सेवा भाव आज मुझे यहाँ तक ले आया है। यही सेवा भाव हमारे देश की परंपरा भी है। राष्ट्रपति के पद पर मेरा चयन भारतीय लोकतंत्र की महानता का प्रतीक है। इस पद पर रहते हुए संविधान की रक्षा करना और संविधान की मर्यादा को बनाए रखना मेरा कर्तव्य है। मैं देश के सभी लोगों को नमन करते हुए उन्हें विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः के भाव के साथ राष्ट्र की सेवा में निरंतर लगा रहूंगा। देश के लोगों का, हर राजनीतिक दल का और सभी जनप्रतिनिधियों का एक बार पुनः बहुत बहुत आभार और आप सभी को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Meanwhile, Meera Kumar, the opposition candidate who lost the election, also made a statement after the result was announced. She congratulated Ramnath Kovind on his victory and said that it was upon the new president to uphold the constitution in letter and spirit. She also thanked her supporters and said that her battle of ideology would continue as the value system and the principles that she is fighting for are held sacred by most of the people in the country.
I want to congratulate Shri Kovind ji on his election as the President of India, our great country. I extend my good wishes to him as it has fallen upon him to uphold the Constitution of India in letter and spirit in these most challenging times. I want to thank all those honorable members of the Collegium who have voted for me. I want to thank Srimati Sonia Gandhi and all the leaders of those opposition political parties who unanimously made me their candidate in this election. I want to thank my countrymen and women who have extended their good wishes to me and have supported me. I want to make it very clear that today, on 20th July 2017, my battle for ideology doesn't end. It will continue, because the ideology, the value system, the principles that I am fighting for are held sacred by most of the people of my country. They find strength in it. These are social justice, inclusiveness, secularism, transparency, freedom of expression, freedom of the press, total destruction of the caste system. I will continue to fight for these values at all the strength at my command. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And now let's listen into some more reactions that came in from the political circles following Ramnath Kovind's victory.
मैं श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी को आज जो ऐतिहासिक जीत हुई है राष्ट्रपति पद के चुनाव में उनकी, उसके लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ओर से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। आज रामनाथ जी ये जब 25 तारीख को राष्ट्रपति बनेंगे, इस देश के करोड़ों गरीब, दबे कुचले गांव में रहते हुए लोगों को अपना प्रतिनिधि सर्वोच्च संवैधानिक पद पर बैठा हुआ दिखाई पड़ेगा।
बहुत अभिनंदन उनका। बहुत ही विनम्र, संविधान के मर्मज्ञ, भारत की राजनीति को समझने वाले हैं, संसदीय परंपरा को समझने वाले हैं। उनके बनने से बहुत ही खुशी है।
इसमें सबसे बड़ी बात ये रही कि बहुत भारी मात्रा में क्रॉस वोटिंग हुई है और अपोजिशन पार्टीज के जो जनप्रतिनिधि हैं उनको, वो भी उनमें से कई जो जनता की जो आवाज है उसको सुनकर उन्होंने सही कैंडिडेट को चुना।
राष्ट्रपति पद के चुनाव में श्री रामनाथ कोविंद जी को भारी बहुमत से सफलता प्राप्त होने पर मैं उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार और उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता की ओर से हृदय से बधाई देता हूं। यह उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए और भी गौरव का क्षण है कि पहली बार देश के सर्वोच्च संवैधानिक पद पर उत्तर प्रदेश का सपूत विराजमान होगा।
अब जब ये परिणाम आ गया है तो जाहिर है कि कोविंद जी हमारे राष्ट्रपति हैं और उनको जो सम्मान मिलना चाहिए वो सम्मान उनको मिलेगा, उसमें कोई कमी नहीं होगी। लड़ाई तब तक थी जब तक के चुनाव था।
All right, without a quick break here, up next we'll get you the other big national stories.
सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back. Let's get you some news now. And BSP Chief Mayawati's resignation from the Rajya Sabha was accepted today by Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari. Her Rajya Sabha term was set to end in April next year. Mayawati submitted a fresh resignation letter in the prescribed format containing a handwritten one-line statement. On Tuesday, she resigned from the House after accusing the BJP and the chair of not allowing her to raise the issue of anti-Dalit violence in Uttar Pradesh in the House. However, the 3-page resignation letter was rejected as it was not in the requisite format. The format states that the resignation letter should be brief and should not mention the reasons.
I have to inform the members that the Honorable Chairman had received a letter dated the 20th of July 2017 from Kumari Mayawati, member representing the state of Uttar Pradesh, resigning her seat in the Rajya Sabha. The Honorable Chairman had accepted her resignation with effect from 20th of July 2017.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj apprised the Upper House on Thursday that all countries are with India on the issue of Doklam's standoff with China. Swaraj also assured the country that India is well equipped to defend itself. Here are more details.
Let's hear the answer.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj told the Upper House that India is vigilant of its security interests. Making a statement during question hour, Swaraj said that it was China and not India which had altered the status quo of the Sikkim border. She said both Bhutan and India are sovereign nations and are working to resolve border disputes with China.
हम ये चाहते हैं कि अगर संवाद चल रहा है कि भी अगर कोई बातचीत बैठकर करनी है तो दोनों अपनी-अपनी सेनाएं हटाएं। तो इसीलिए सारे के सारे देश ये समझ रहे हैं कि भारत ने जो अपना मत रखा है और जो पक्ष रखा है वो गलत नहीं है। न्याय हमारे पक्ष के साथ है, इसको सारे देश मान रहे हैं।
Swaraj added that India's stand on South China is very clear. India maintains that free and uninterrupted passage for commercial vessels should be maintained in the region, and any disputes should be resolved with mutual cooperation.
भारत की स्थिति दक्षिण चीन सागर के बारे में बहुत ही स्पष्ट है कि फ्रीडम ऑफ नेविगेशन होना चाहिए, कॉमर्स अनइम्पीडेड यानी किसी तरह से वहाँ के व्यापार को बाधक नहीं बनाना चाहिए, और अगर आपसी मतभेद और विवाद पैदा होते हैं तो अनक्रॉस के नीचे जाना चाहिए। ये हमारी बहुत ही स्पष्ट नीति है।
China and India are engaged in a month-long standoff over Doklam Plateau in the Sikkim sector after Indian troops stopped Chinese army from building a road in the area. China claimed it is constructing the road within its territory and has been demanding immediate pullout of the Indian troops. New Delhi has conveyed to the Chinese government that road construction will represent a significant change of status quo. It is expected to give Beijing easy access to Chicken's Neck, a narrow land linking India to the 8 northeastern states, and could impose serious security threats. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV. And opposition members cutting across party lines raised the issue of protests across the country by textile manufacturers and traders against the imposition of GST. The opposition claimed the new indirect tax will make the textile industry uncompetitive, especially the handloom segment would be battered. Opposition parties in the upper house demanded a rollback of GST on the textile sector during Zero Hour. Anand Bhaskar Rapalu of the Congress highlighted recent protests in this regard against the imposition of GST.
This GST is going to disturb the lifestyle and livelihood of the handloom sector in particular. I am pleading to treat handlooms on par with raw salt of Mahatma Gandhi. Handlooms are the cloth of Mahatma Gandhi and it has to be treated and protected. Hank and I had to be exempted from all the taxation.
कुछ दिन पहले सूरत में और अन्य जगहों पे टेक्सटाइल ट्रेडर्स बड़ी भारी संख्या में सैकड़ों हजारों की संख्या में सड़क पे उतर आए। वो सिर्फ ट्रेडर्स नहीं थे बल्कि उनके साथ जुड़े हुए कई अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर के लोग थे। न सिर्फ उनकी बात सुनी गई बल्कि पुलिस ने उस पर लाठियां बरसाई गई।
TMC members Ahmed Hassan and Sukhendu Shekhar Roy also referred to the strike by ready-made garment shop owners in West Bengal against GST.
GST, there is confusion and fear among the traders and no efforts have been made by the government to ease the situation. There was a nationwide 3-day strike by the textile traders before the launch of the GST. Ready-made garment traders are still on strike. The expected loss due to the strike is said to be around 22,000 crore.
The VAT system per sack which was operative in the garment industry of West Bengal should be included in the GST rules. Number 2, in case of making business within the state, the GST registration must not be mandatory for turnover below rupees 20 lakhs. The same rule should be applied throughout the country for the small-scale garment manufacturer.
CPIM MP CP Narayanan demanded that items related to specially abled people should be removed from the ambit of GST.
5 to 18% tax is being slapped on various items that are being used by the disabled. To tax them like this will be a great injustice to them. I request the government that the GST that is being slapped on the various sections of disabled with taxes from 5% to 18% should be withdrawn. The government should take up the matter to the GST Council and withdraw all these things as early as possible.
Earlier, the government ruled out relief to the textile industry, which is seeking abolition of the 5% goods and service tax imposed on fabrics. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV. And now on the weather front, Delhiites witnessed a pleasant morning today as monsoon showers brought temperatures down by at least 5 notches. But office and school goers had a harrowing time making their way through waterlogged roads. Metro services also got delayed, adding to the commuters' woes. Torrential rains proved to be fatal for some in the hill states of Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir, where at least 20 people lost their lives in separate incidents.
Heavy rains lashed the national capital region early Thursday, bringing in much-needed relief from the sweltering heat. But only a few hours of downpour led to extensive waterlogging on all key roads and residential areas. Commuters had a harrowing time as traffic crawled on waterlogged roads.
पानी भरा हुआ है और बहुत दिक्कत हो रही है, लोगों की गाड़ियां बाइक बंद हो रही हैं।
यहाँ पानी हमेशा जब बारिश होती है ऐसी दिक्कत हो जाती है, चलने फिरने में काफी परेशानी हो जाती है।
अभी बाइक वाले थे वो भी
अभी मैं आधे घंटे से वेट कर रहा हूँ, पानी अब कोई आ ही नहीं रहा है तो आगे छोड़ दे मेरे को।
In the northern states of Jammu and Himachal Pradesh, rains wreaked havoc, claiming several lives. In Doda district of Jammu and Kashmir, at least 6 people were killed and 11 injured after a cloudburst triggered flash floods in Thatri town. More than a dozen houses were washed away along the Batore-Kishtwar National Highway. Expressing grief over the incident, Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti has directed the administration to provide adequate treatment facilities to the injured and make arrangements for shelter, food and other facilities for those affected.
थाटरी जो टाउन है, इसके पीछे की जो रिच लाइन है पहाड़ी पे, वहाँ पे बादल फटा है, जिसके कारण जो एक नाला कोटांग करके यहाँ से गुजर रहा है, उसमें फ्लैश फ्लड की एक सिचुएशन अराइज हुई और वो बहुत सडनली हुआ, जिसके कारण जो टाउन के बिल्कुल पास के घर थे उनको नुकसान हुआ। लगभग 8 स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं, जिसमें एक स्कूल भी था, कुछ दुकानें थी, कुछ कमर्शियल जो चीज़ें एस्टेब्लिशमेंट्स थी, अपार्ट फ्रॉम जो हमारे रिहायशी घर पे उनको नुकसान पहुँचा है।
In Himachal, as many as 15 passengers were killed and 9 injured as a bus fell into a gorge in Rampur area of Shimla. Several teams of the NDRF were immediately rushed to the spot to supervise relief and rescue operations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here's a look at the other national news and developments in Nationwide. The Delhi High Court asked the police to file a status report with regard to the ongoing probe into the death of Congress MP Shashi Tharoor's wife, Sunanda Pushkar, within 3 days. The court has fixed the matter for 1st of August and directed the police to supply an advance copy of the status report to the Ministry of Home Affairs, petitioners Subramanian Swamy and the CBI. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has reallocated his deputy Manish Sisodia's portfolios. As per sources, it is a move intended to sharpen focus on the Aam Aadmi Party's government's priorities. Sisodia has got the tourism portfolio from Water Minister Rajendra Gautam, but has been divested of the charges of Revenue Department and Registrar of Cooperative Societies. Airlines have no authority to impose flying ban on anyone, including parliamentarians, and the law of the land should take its course, said Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman PJ Kurian. The remarks came after Samajwadi Party member Naresh Agarwal raised the issue of recent flying ban imposed by major domestic airlines including state-owned Air India. According to Agrawal, such an action was a breach of privilege of the members of parliament. However, Kurian said that if a person beats up someone, it is a crime. GJM activists and other Hill parties held a demonstration outside the district magistrate's office in Darjeeling, demanding restoration of internet services in the hills, which have been suspended for the last 32 days. There were no incidents of violence as the indefinite shutdown in the hills entered its 36th day today, but police and security forces patrolled the streets and kept a tight vigil at every entry and exit points. And in international news now, tensions between Germany and Turkey escalated on Thursday, with Berlin warning its citizens and firms that they face the risk of arbitrary arrest in Turkey. This came after repeated requests by Germany to get access to an arrested German activist, and his release was denied by Turkey. Here are more details. Germany's government has warned companies against doing business in Turkey and issued revised guidelines for travelers as Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel announced a reorientation of policy towards Turkey. People traveling to Turkey for private or business reasons were also urged to exercise increased caution.
Ich kann auf Seiten der derzeitigen türkischen Regierung leider keinerlei Bereitschaft erkennen, mit uns diesen Weg zu gehen. Deswegen werden wir zu einer Neubestimmung der Türkei-Politik aus Deutschland heraus gezwungen sein.
This came a day after Germany summoned Turkey's Berlin ambassador to protest against the arrest of 6 human rights activists. These include a German citizen, Peter Stüdner, and Amnesty International's Turkey director, Idil Ezer. Peter Stüdner and the others were arrested on the grounds that they were part of a terrorist organization.
Vorwürfe über Verbindungen zu terroristischen Organisationen sind offensichtlich an den Haaren herbeigezogen. Es sei denn, man wollte Amnesty International und andere Menschenrechtsorganisationen als terroristisch qualifizieren.
Watching developments closely, the European Union on Thursday said that Turkey's arrest of human rights defenders, journalists and opposition is alarming and called for their immediate release.
We find this as an alarming news that continues a deeply worrying pattern of imprisonments of a large number of journalists, human rights defenders and members of the democratic opposition in Turkey. We call for the immediate release of these people.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan launched a huge purge of state institutions after rogue military officers tried to topple him a year ago. More than 50,000 people have been arrested since the failed coup, including more than 170 journalists and many opposition politicians, academics and activists. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And that's all we have for you in the news tonight. Thank you for joining us.